Hi Year 10 and Year 11, this is your video for chicken Caesar salad. It should be a fairly quick one. The reason you're making chicken Caesar salad is because we haven't done any salads before, and I chose this because I thought it might be something that appeals to you. So in my pan, before I've started doing the video, I've cooked 2 chicken breasts, and the recipe asks you to put them in there for 4 minutes on each side and turn them over. And what I've just done, which you can just see, is poke a sharp knife, so just the end of a sharp knife, into the thickest part of the chicken breast to have a look and make sure it looks white and to check that it's cooked. So I'm quite happy that that's cooked. But what I'm going to do is, because I'm not using that one first, I'm just going to pop it into the oven. And then I'm going to use the smaller one because I've got 2. So in my bowl, to make the dressing, because the Caesar salad is made up of the green lettuce leaves, and it's normally cos or romaine lettuce, and then it's got a dressing and croutons and cheese, and this one has chicken as well. So to make the dressing, it asks you to crush the garlic and mash 2 anchovies in a bowl. So this is a bulb of garlic. To get a clove out, I'm going to push it with the heel of my hand until I hear it crunch and come apart, and then I'm going to fish around and find a nice garlic clove. So I'm going to go for that one. And then I'm going to just take some of the skin off. And crush it into my bowl. This is where I'm making my dressing. And then it asks me to get 2 anchovies, and you might want to leave these out if you don't like them. It says to mash 2 anchovies with a fork against the side of the dish. So I'm just going to pick out 2 out of my tin. So they're little fishes, basically. And people often have these on pizza. So I think that's 2. I'm just going to wash my hands because they're a bit oily. So I'm going to mash those 2 ingredients together with a fork. So that they break up. Which is trickier than I thought, actually. I might use my knife as well. So what I'm doing is I'm sort of shredding with the knife and the fork. And breaking them up because they're a little bit meatier than I expected them to be. Okay, so you can tell by how long that's taken me, about a minute to do that. And I needed to break them up first, and now it's much easier for me to mash them. So it wants me to mash 2 anchovies with the side of a fork into a small bowl, and then grate in Parmesan cheese. Now because I only needed a little bit for this recipe, I just bought the pre-grated, but you can normally get it in a big block. So it wants me to just add a handful of that. So I'm just visualising that. I mix with the garlic, anchovies, and then 5 tablespoons of mayonnaise. I'm just breaking the anchovy up a bit into that because the cheese is quite gritty, so I'm just using it to break the anchovy up a little bit. And then I'm going to get my mayonnaise out, which is just here. You can use that or light. And you can use more or less, depending on how strong you like it. So that's 1, 2, 3. I've been a bit generous there because some of it's stuck in the spoon. Okay, let's try to get out of the best. 5 tablespoons of mayonnaise, and then 1 tablespoon of white wine vinegar, which is this. We'll have that in school for you because it's a shame for you to buy the whole thing when you don't need it. Now I'm just going to stop to take my croutons out because the other part of the recipe is that you're making croutons. So these are my croutons. They've just been in the oven. It's pieces of bread that's been broken up and then just rubbed in some oil and salt and pepper. So I've got my mayonnaise, my white wine vinegar, all in there, and this is the dressing for your salad. So think about you making it and think about if there's anything in there that you would leave out. I'm still going with my fork, but it doesn't seem to be working, so I'm just going to swap to a spoon. And this is quite a classic dish. Pretty much most menus will have a Caesar salad on there. Sometimes they have bacon with it. You might have it without the chicken if you don't eat chicken. But it's a fairly standard traditional recipe. So you can see the consistency of my dressing there, if I get it without the light on it. The recipe says it should be the consistency of yogurt. If it's thicker, stir in a little bit of water. So I'm happy with the consistency of mine. So I'm going to pop that to one side in my quite small kitchen, and then I'm going to assemble it. Okay, so this is romaine lettuce, and it's a little bit wet because I've just washed it in the tap. You can see that this outer lettuce leaf is a bit limp, so I'm going to break it off, as is that one, and the rest look pretty much okay. So I'm going to put those in the bin and just work with the better ones. That one's a bit soft as well, so I'm going to get rid of that one. So a bit of quality assurance there, checking the quality. And then when they're inside, they're much better. They're nice and crisp. So I can be choosy about which ones I use. And I can take out and I'll take off the end where I don't need it. So that lot I need to just dry with a paper towel because it's a little bit wet, and then I'm going to arrange it in the dish. The bottom of the stems, if they're a bit discoloured, that can be chopped off as well. So I'm just having a look at them, patting them down, and you might be doing this in a dish to take it home in, a lunchbox, or you might be eating it for your dinner on the day that you cook it. So you can leave them whole, or you can chop them up. So I'm going to do a little mixture. In fact, I think I'll probably chop most of it up. If it's coarse lettuce, sometimes it's easier to keep it whole, but the romaine, the little ones, are quite nice to chop up. So you can see that I've assembled the lettuce in the bottom. Keep that to one side. So it asks me to shave the cheese, tear one large coarse lettuce leaf into pieces and put it in a bowl. Put the chicken on top. So I've finished on my bowl, so I now can use my chicken. So I'm going to use a fork to just hold it still. So I'm going to hold it and cut it into pieces. You might want to figure out which way works best for you in terms of which hand to use. I'm cutting the chicken up quite big because it looks nice, looks really chunky. And then all I'm going to do is put some croutons on and put some of this dressing on, and that's it. So here's the croutons, and then spoon over a little bit of the dressing because it makes it a bit less dry. And that's your chicken Caesar salad that you could adapt to suit you and then eat for your lunch or take home.